All right, welcome back here to the Xfinity Sports Report, your Colorado high school connection as advertised. Set to talk some high school baseball and happy to be joined by John Kikowski, PrepBaseballReport.com. John, great to see you again.
Thanks for having me again, man. I love coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the best things about having you in the studio, it means, A, the weather's getting nicer.
Yeah.
And we all love that. And B, it's baseball season, which, of course, we all love as well. Of course, Prep Baseball Report is really the place that I go when I want to take a look at what's going on in the world of high school baseball. Hey, we're going to get you caught up on what to expect. 4A, 5A baseball here this year. We'll talk about some of the top teams, and a little bit later on with John, we'll check out PBR's rankings for the senior, junior, and sophomore classes. All right, let's start in 4A, though, and talk about some of the top teams. And let's start with Valor Christian, the defending champs under new leadership here this year. Keith Wall has since moved on, but Valor Christian, they look like they may be the team to beat.
Yeah, Coach Bond's doing a good job. He's been there for a long time. Luke Ziegler, he's one of the top players, not only at 4A, but in the state. He's committed to Pepperdine. He's leading them. They got a solid catcher I like, Noah Kuzma, who's real athletic. He's got some good power potential. And they've got a lot of young talents mixed in with some senior leadership. They're always going to get some good players that go there, but I would say that right now they're the team to beat at the 4A level.
Yeah, and again, they've been knocking on the door, and they finally broke through last year. That championship series, you had to go to the championship Saturday. You know, Pueblo West had beaten them earlier in the championship series, and they had to beat Pueblo West twice on championship Saturday, and they did it. And you felt bad for Pueblo West, but again, Valor Christian taking down their first baseball state championship. Hey, they had a great freshman pitcher last year in Davis Heller, too, and he's gone.
Yeah, he moved to Arizona, and I think that a school like Valor right now, they can absorb that blow. I think some other schools cannot afford that, but they still have some depth in their pitching staff that I think is going to help them get through this season.
Yeah, so Heller was a kid who had high Division I interest
really
last year as a freshman, 6'6", over 200 pounds. We mentioned Pueblo West, and again, that's a devastating loss for them last year in the state championship.
It'd be great to have another rematch.
Right, and could we? I mean, because they're loaded again this year too, right?
Yeah, they have everyone back for the most part. They've got the Garcia brothers that do real well offensively. They're committed. They're going to Dodge City, I believe. And then the Dobovich kid, big pitcher on the mound. I'm hearing he's in the low 90s already this spring. They're going to win anytime he pitches, or at least have a very, very good chance when he throws. He's going to probably have lead in a lot of success as well.
Right, so it's always nice when you can get that ace on the mound, the guy that pumps 90. You know, there's a lot of guys this year in the 4A and 5A ranks, especially 5A, that can throw hard. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. How about Silver Creek? Can you talk about top of the line aces?
Yeah.
They have one in Cole Wynn.
Yeah, Cole's a special kid. I think when he goes out and throws, you're going to see some extra people in the stands this spring. With the radar guns, you know, his arm's real electric, and I'll be honest, he's 93 on the mound. He's tall. He's on you. All three pitches are great, and anytime he throws for Silver Creek, they should definitely win that game. He had a good year last year as a junior. He was actually committed to Notre Dame and decommitted, and now he's going to Mississippi State, which is big time. So it's neat to see a kid from Colorado going there.
Yep, and he's one of those kids that is already off to a good start. I was checking his stats earlier this weekend and said, okay, let's see what he's doing so far. 8 innings pitched, 23 strikeouts.
Yeah, and he's a great kid, too. I've had a chance to talk to him a couple times. He's a humble kid. You like to see that kind of success in a kid like that. And, yeah, he's a beast on the mound for sure. So he has a chance to take Silver Creek to a long, far in the playoffs too, if they get some extra pitching behind him.
Yeah, so again, if you're looking to go out and see one of the top pitchers in the state this year, Silver Creek High School in Longmont. Cole Wynn, as John mentioned, going to Mississippi State. You talk about Windsor. Windsor's a team that was there last year. They lost Jake Greenwald to graduation, drafted in the 23rd round by the San Francisco Giants. But Court Tapia is a kid who's back for them.
Tapia's back, and Coach Steele does a good job for them up in Windsor. I think they're another team that you got to look at making the Final Four, getting into the Final 8 again. Erie's another good 4A team. That they're doing a good job. Harold Simmons does a great job with their group, and losing Greenwald is going to be a little bit hard for Windsor, but I think they've got some talent back this year that's going to definitely help them get to the possibly Final 8 again.
How about some other teams? A team that you and I saw last year, I know a couple times. Denver North kind of snuck up on some folks last year, and they're returning a lot of kids.
Yeah, and Denver North's got a kid, Judah Wilbur, who has led everything, I think, offensively at the 4A level last year. Very, very good player. And then they also got an outfield named Harris Williams, who's one of our top 2018 kids. He can really swing it. Really good. I mean, he's a very, very polished hitter. And Denver North's already off to a 6-0 start, I think, this year. They should cruise through their league. And I'd love to see them have success and get to that Final 8 this year if they can get through that district round.
Yep, they were able to host districts last year and lost in the first round of that district tournament to Niwot. Erie ended up coming out of that district to the championship series. All right, let's go to Class 5A now. And the defending champs, Cherokee Trail, they're back here this year. Remember, they made the run as the number 13 seed last season. I mean, John, you look at their roster, and boy, they have a lot of guys coming back.
It's funny. I think you see some names on that team. It seems like they've been there for 5 years. You see Michael Morris, Eric Cox, the Perez kid, Nankis, who right now is out, but he's supposed to be back in a couple weeks. Yeah, and they've got pitching depth. I saw a kid the other night throw against Thunder Ridge, Hayden, who did really, really well. He's a mid-'80s kid. Yeah, I mean, coached by Alan Dyer and his coaching staff that's been with him, it seems, since the start that he's been there. They're going to be really good. They're off to a little bit of a slow start right now, but they went to a tough tournament. They're going to get it going, and they'll be there at the end, I would think.
Yeah, lost to Thunder Ridge as well. Their lone in-state loss so far. This is a game that you were at.
Yeah, it was a good game. Yeah.
And Thunder Ridge is a team that's always tough.
They're always well coached. I mean, Joe White's been there since
forever.
He's opened the school.
Right.
And, his assistant coach Brad Johnson's been there since they opened the school, and they do the same thing. They believe in what they do, and they have kids that buy in. And hey, man, Thunder Ridge, you can never sleep on those guys. They got a kid, Jake Hayes, who's a good shortstop for him, switch hitting shortstop. And they're always going to have a really good pitching staff. So they're always going to have a deep pitching staff because they're so well coached.
So we mentioned Cherokee Trail, and of course the team they beat in the championship game was Rocky Mountain. We were supposed to have that game from Coors Field, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, but alas, that got snowed out on Friday. But, Rocky Mountain, there's Scott Bullock and the Lobos. They're right there again. Lost a pretty good lefty, but they're going to be good.
Yeah, losing Allered hurts, but, Sorensen, he can beat anyone in our state. He competes on the mound. They swing it really well. The Hammer kid does a good job for them. He can also pitch, and like I just talked about with Thunder Ridge, Scott Bullock and his staff have been there, and they have a philosophy that they stick to, and they do what they do, and they're going to be there. I'd be shocked if they're not, competing for the state championship again this year because they've got a lot of talent that's deep in their program. So.
The team that Rocky Mountain knocked off in the districts last year was the number 1 overall seed going into the playoffs was Pine Creek, and obviously that wasn't a good draw for those Pine Creek Eagles, but boy, they're back again here this year. Now Pine Creek's another team that loaded with talent, not only old talent, but they got some really good young guys.
Yeah, last year they were a pretty young team at that level going up against the Rocky Mountain, and so right now they've got Justin Olson's back. He's committed to Kentucky. He's a junior. They've got Riley Cornelio, who's our number 1 ranked 2019 kid who's committed to TCU. Parker Gregory's a pitcher for him, who's only a sophomore as well. He's doing really well in upper 80s. Kid Jay Onken's going to Utah. Right fielder, number 1 pitcher for them. So yeah, Toby Scholes is back going to School of Mines. They're really, really. They should be there again. I like to see them have some success and get into the districts as well.
Yeah,
or get through the districts.
Right. Again, Pine Creek down there. Glenn Millhauser's done a great job in that Colorado Springs metro area. Was at Air Academy for a long time as well. Pine Creek's again could be a team that you want to keep your eye on. And other teams with good arms. We had a chance to see Broomfield the other day, and I'll tell you what, you were telling me 2 really good arms there for the Eagles.
Yeah, the one kid that I think people will get to know this spring because he hasn't pitched in the last couple springs is Blake Rahm. He's committed to Virginia, 6'5" on the mound, 90 miles per hour. The Notary kid's back. He's a 90 kid. He's committed to TCU. Got a good catcher, Mason Spires, and then they also have another kid, Ben Peterson, on the mound, who's a mid-'80s kid. So they're loaded. They have a really good team that I don't think you would want to have them if they're not hosting in districts. You don't want them coming to your site for 5A district playoffs.
All right, and then how about some of the Blue Bloods in the program? Cherry Creek, Mark Johnson, the Bruins are back here this year, and Regis and Caleb Sloan has one of the best fireball arms in the state.
Yeah, I mean, the other night Creek went to Regis, and Cherry Creek's they're off to a really good start as well, and they've beaten some good arms. And Sloan was one of them the other night. Sloan in the first inning gave up a 2-run home run, but then he settled down. But he was 96 a few times in the first, touched 97 a couple times. That's a pretty good arm. He's going to TCU. Regis, again, they'll have the talent to compete in the Continental League and get there. Cherry Creek, Tanner Otremba, I mean, it seems like he's been around forever. He still has one more.
He's in his 18th season.
I know, and he's got one more year to go after this.
I know, right?
I saw him hit a home run the other night against Heritage. I think glad it didn't go through a windshield. It was about 475 feet, and he knew it when he hit it. So it was off a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. So.
Well, one of the great things about Prep Baseball Report that I like to go and look at is your player rankings, and that's certainly one of the things that you guys pride yourself on. Let's take a look at some of the top players in the state of Colorado. Let's start with the 19 class and take a look at some of the top sophomores. John, who do you guys have ranked right up there as some of the top sophomores in the state?
Well, I mentioned Riley Cornelio earlier. He's got an electric arm. He's late, he's a shortstop too. He's a 90 kid. You've got Bryce Matthews of Chaparral, big left-handed swinger. He's committed to Arkansas. I said Parker Gregory earlier for Pine Creek. He's an upper 80s kid. Mitchell Morales is a left-handed kid that for Broomfield as well. He's a mid-80s kid, and he's going to be a good one. One kid I really like a lot, Justin Boyd out legend. Really solid shortstop. He's already committed to Oregon State. Wow. So, yeah, he's a solid player. So the 2019 class, it's pretty deep. You have a Sam Ireland kid at Mountain Vista who hits the ball really well. So they're going to 2019 class could represent our state really well this year.
All right, how about some of the top juniors in the state of Colorado to keep your eyes on?
Well, we mentioned Wynn. He's our number 1. He's number 7 overall. We have overall rankings, too, for national rankings. He's number 7 overall. And, again, we said he's 96, 97 to start the year. I mean, that could be scary come May time. What is he going to be throwing? You've got Tanner Otremba, Texas Tech. He's going to. Justin Olson going to Kentucky. Luke Leisenring, a catcher out of Ralston Valley. He's our 4th switch-hitting catcher. Advanced catching skills behind the plate. He's 6'3". And I also like Luke Ziegler, like I said, from Valley. He's our number 5, and he's going to go to Pepperdine. Riley Egloff of Heritage is a really good pitcher, too. He's an upper 80s kid. He should be pretty good going forward.
All right, then how about that senior class to wrap it up here? Who does Prep Baseball Report like?
Well, Caleb Sloan, we said that, but, it's going to be kind of sad, but there's an Opitz kid still coming out of Heritage. He's our number 2. He's a great catcher behind the plate. He's going to Arkansas. Then after this, I'm going to have to give Scott Horman a hard time. He's got to find another Opitz or something like that. Jacob Hilton out of Heritage is another kid. He was 92 the other night against Creek. He struck out 7 in 2 innings. So he's really shot up the ladder. A couple other guys, Drake Davis, I said, a 90 kid out of Ralston Valley. Some other good players. We mentioned Rom. You got Liam Eddy out of Brighton. You can't sleep on him and forget him. He's a 90 kid. Matt Gibbon out of Rock Canyon. He's a very good athlete, shortstop, and he's in the upper 80s. I've heard low 90s as well. So a lot of 90 arms in our state this year. It's pretty neat to see.
Yeah, that's always fun, and that's I think what we all look for, and at least I do. I go out to see these high school games, and you're hoping to see that guy, that one of the top arms of the state, somebody that's going to touch 90.
There's a lot of them this year.
And that's fun. And that's fun to see the good pitching that we have here in the state of Colorado. Well, John, always appreciate it. Enjoy your website. Enjoy your insight. We'll get you on coming up in May when we get into the postseason, and we'll kind of take a look at this situation at that point, but appreciate it.
No, thank you very much for having me, Brian. I appreciate it, too.
All right, John Kukowski, PrepBaseballReport.com, and it's a one-stop shop if you're going and you're a big fan of high school baseball. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll wrap it up after this right here on the Xfinity Sports Report.